history of the Winter Olympics in Australia. Only 16 people have ever won a medal, and today's guest is one of those 16 people. In PyeongChang in 2018, took silver in the men's moguls, and outside of that glorious medal at the Olympic Games, has achieved so much on the world stage in moguls. Multiple world championship medals, crystal globe winner, and he's on track to represent Australia at his 4th Olympic Games in Milano Cortina in just a few weeks' time. It's a pleasure to welcome to the program Matt Graham. Matt, welcome to Off the Podium.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's good to be, to link this up finally.
It's a pleasure, mate. Absolute pleasure to have you on the show, because as I was telling you off air, we have one half of this show, Colin, who is a mad moguls nut. So I feel that we are big moguls fans overall on this show. And I will say that we were on air in 2018 when you won that medal. It's one of these events that we just happened to be recording at the time. So I always like to talk to our guests who we sort of called their medal wins, I guess, so to speak. We'll touch on that very shortly. But I want to start off a little bit differently in terms of how we usually do these interviews. We're recording this just before Christmas, so people are going to hear this in a few weeks' time. But at the time of recording this, Matt, you're basically back in Australia off the back of starting your current World Cup campaign in 25-26. Done all right, off the back of a gold medal straight away and the beginning of the World Cup in one of the opening 2 events. I just want to ask the blanket question. How are you feeling right now in the lead up to your 4th Olympics? Because you've started this season off pretty bloody good.
Yeah. Right in this current moment, I'm pretty relaxed. I'm back home with my family. We're living at Bondi Beach. It's nice, warm, sunny, 30-odd degrees out. So, yeah, just soaking up the sun at the moment. Getting a little vitamin D hit after spending, a month or so up in the north of Finland in darkness. But yeah, it was a great start to the season. We had 2 back-to-back events in Ruka, Finland, where I finished up in 4th place in the first event, and then won the second event alongside my teammate Jakar Anthony. So that was special for us and special for the team, and yeah, great way to start off the Olympic season.
Bit of a difference being in Bondi right now to Ruka in Finland, just in terms of the weather and the atmosphere and that. But you touch on Jakar as well, just such a perfect way to start, particularly off the back of her injury, of course. Obviously, she missed the majority of last season with her injury. So, do you want to sort of go into an Olympic World Cup season just starting like this? Is this sort of like a good confidence boost for yourself, for Jakara, for the entire team to kind of maintain that momentum sort of as you push towards the remaining events ahead of the Olympics?
Yeah, for me personally, it was one of my goals this year was to really come out swinging in the first half of the tour. Generally in the past, I guess I'd say I've been, we have a long season. It usually goes from the start of December through till March usually. And historically, I've been a bit of a slow starter. And this year I really wanted to, hit the blocks running, and, I had a really good off season and good preparations. Whereas the preceding sort of 3 seasons has all been hindered by either injuries or, becoming a dad. So it was nice. The past 10 months was just solid, training, no interruptions, no disruptions. So I guess to come out swinging and get some good results, really, it just highlighted the off season I had, and it was a big driving factor for me leading up to this. And for Jakara as well to come out and get back on that top step, where she belongs is really good confidence booster for her. She's had obviously last season, less than 12 months ago, or just slightly over 12 months ago, she broke a collarbone and missed the last season, which was unfortunate for her. But to come back swinging and get on the top step for her was unreal. And obviously to do it at the same event, literally 10 minutes apart, is it's pretty cool and very special for us and the team.
Is there something in the water for Aussie mogul skiers? We're obviously going to touch back on the roots and a certain Dale Begg-Smith and kind of, the history of this sport in Australia. But it just always seems to be producing great athletes, from Dale to Britt to Jakara to yourself, Cooper, Brody. I can keep going on with these amazing names that we keep producing it. But what do we have in the water in Australia when it comes to this sport that we keep finding great athletes in moguls?
We don't have massive mountains in Australia, but they're big enough for a mogul course. And I think that's, a contributing factor. Not only moguls, but all the freestyle disciplines. Whereas obviously in the alpine and, the big speed events, they need really long, steep runs. Whereas, we need 250 meters at about 28 degrees, and we have plenty in Australia. So we have the facilities, which is obviously backed by our sort of partner resorts in Australia, in particular, Perisher. They support the mogul team a lot with mogul skiing courses and facilities, and they put in a lot of investment with the snowmaking and the cat time to, I guess, support our team. And I mean, we owe a lot to our local resorts for that support, and then obviously the history as well. You know, success breeds success, and like you said, with Dale Begg-Smith coming out in the early 2000s, I guess really set the ball rolling. But even before that, we had great mogul skis. You know, we had a lot of success World Cup tour with a program and a pathway that was sort of, I guess, subpar in a lot of ways. Whereas now, since Dale's come along and his coach, Steve Desevich, and obviously Peter Topalovic, he's sort of the godfather of freestyle mogul skiing in Australia. They sort of set out a pathway basically from grassroots all the way through to that top end World Cup level. And I mean, all of us who have been successful, who are Australia born, have come through our local club programs, whether it's Perisher Winter Sports Club. You know, Britt was Mount of Falls Creek originally, and then Jakara obviously down in Mount Buller as well. So, but yeah, once everyone sort of makes that development team or national team, they make their way up to Perisher to ski on our local course there called Topper's Dream, which is sort of world renowned, very steep, very hard, very challenging, and that's why we have a lot of success, I would say.
And I believe is there not a run named after you now at Perisher? Is that true?
There is, yeah. So after I got silver medal in PyeongChang, Perisher were kind enough to name a run after me, which was pretty special. And I guess I feel very privileged. There's only a few runs named after people. You know, you have Zali Stegel over at Blue Cow, and obviously one of my coaches, Peter Topalovic, he's the main course in Perisher's is named after him, Topper's Dream. And then Mogul Mats, which is sort of a club level, entry level mogul course, which is used a lot for the Perisher club program, but also like the inter school competition. So it's pretty cool to have that. And yeah, I like to, I guess, go over there and ski it every now and then also watch a lot of the young kids sort of having a ball. So yeah, it's always nice to go back, and maybe one day my daughter will go up there and ski it. So that's, I guess, something to look forward to.
Do you get dibs on it? Like if you sort of you get to the top of it and it's quite busy, do you just like, oh, fuck off everybody, this is mine, it's named after me, like, you know, free roads, Matt Graham's coming down, like surely you get some sort of privileges over it, right?
I mean, generally the kids skiing it, they want to see me ski it, so they usually let me go in front of them. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's fun. I mean, the mogul skiing community in Australia is pretty small and close knit. So whenever I go over for junior events, you know, a lot of the young kids always want to duel me or whatnot. So yeah, it's pretty cool, pretty fun to be part of.
Based on what you're saying, though, sort of the preparation and the lead up to it, I mean, this is going to be your fourth Olympics, Matt. You know, you're an old hat at this now. You're obviously, been to a few of these. But does that, I don't want to use the word easier because it's obviously never easy, but if you went back and, say, remembered your lead up into Sochi where it was an unknown, you never experienced what an Olympics brings to the table versus just a regular World Cup. Given this is your fourth time around, you don't have to worry, I'm sure, about sort of some of the extra pressures of an Olympics. You've done this before. You're an Olympic medalist. Like, does that make it more relaxing in a way, and sort of that you know what to expect and can kind of go into it mentally different to the last three Olympics?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, like, I remember my first Olympics and leading up to those games in Sochi, Russia in 2014. Like, I was young at the time, 19 years old, and that experience was very overwhelming. And very, very enjoyable. Like the butterflies and the nerves I experienced sort of that whole week leading up to that event was sort of nothing like I'd experienced before. But then 4 years later in PyeongChang, you know, I felt much more comfortable, much more relaxed being in that Olympic environment, because it is, you know, people say it is, you know, just treat it like another event. Well, it's not another event. It's the Olympic Games, and you only get one shot every 4 years, and the whole world's watching it, not just a little mogul skiing community. So you have to treat it differently in my mind. But I love those big moments, and look forward to getting over there in Milan. You know, I feel relaxed about it at the moment. We got a taste of the course last season for the Olympic test event. And I really enjoyed the course, really loved the valley there in Livigno. It's, you know, beautiful Italian Alps. So yeah, I got no complaints there. And also to have my family and friends there watching is going to be pretty special.
Because we were talking a bit about that off air, about the fact that, it's going to be much different to Beijing, of course, where you couldn't really have any family, of course, going on there, and just sort of the people that are obviously going to be coming along to you with this one to make it a little bit extra special. But it's sort of like every single Olympics, I guess, has kind of been a different journey for you because, Sochi, the first one, as you say, then the second Olympics, sort of you go in as world number 3, sort of one of the favourites to win a medal. Beijing, you go in as a reigning Olympic medalist with the injury and kind of everything that came around with that. Now, this time around, it comes into it a little bit different. But I like what you said there. You feel you kind of almost thrive on the pressure. You like to almost feel that level where it's sort of, I guess, expectations of you. Like you relish those opportunities where those eyes are on you and people are sort of expecting something of you.
Yeah, I've always enjoyed the big moments. We have like the main event we have each year on the World Cup tour is in Deer Valley, Utah, and they host a bigger World Cup there. It's under lights at night time, and they have thousands of people in the crowd. It's a massive show, and I've always done well there and always loved that environment. And consequently, going to the Olympics, it's the same sort of like that high experience. The nerves, the jitters, everything's just a bit more intense. And I've just loved those moments. And that's what I guess the great athletes are good at, is harnessing that, I guess, that nervous energy and making good of it. And yeah, I mean, Beijing was obviously a challenge for me leading into it. I was the current World Cup champion. I won a World Championship silver medal 12 months prior as well. So I was in very good form coming into those Olympics, and then had the injury, broke my collarbone 7 weeks before, which obviously put me on the sidelines right up until the games. But even when I was there, like even when I got back on snow before those Olympics, I skied for 3 or 4 days before going to Beijing, and got right back up to really good quality skiing and good jumping, and was feeling very good. But then going to Beijing, it just felt a little weird, to be honest. Like there was just not having the crowd, not having like that normal Olympic ambiance, having to deal with face masks and COVID tests every day. I just didn't feel myself and didn't really enjoy that experience. And it was bitterly cold, brutally cold there. And obviously it didn't go well. But at the time, I believed I could do well enough to win that event. And I mean, every, I guess, self-respecting person at the Olympic Games who is going there as a legitimate competitor has to believe that they can win an Olympic medal or a gold medal. Otherwise, why are you doing the sport, in my opinion? Obviously people go there for different reasons. For a lot of people, it's a massive achievement just to go because it is hard. But then at that top end, I mean, everyone who's in the top 10, they're there striving for an Olympic medal. They're not going there just to participate. And I went to Beijing not to participate, but unfortunately it didn't go my way. But then going into these Olympics and obviously coming off the back of a really good start to the season in Ruka, Finland, I'm definitely feeling like, I'm at least in the mix, and I believe I can go there and compete really well and hopefully bring back a medal and ideally a gold medal. That's always been my dream as a kid. So that's sort of what I'll be striving for when I'm there.
Speaking of dreams as a kid, I believe you dreamt of being an Olympian, but in sailing, not mogul skiing. Is this true? And how do you go from a sailing dream to becoming an Olympian in mogul skiing?
Yeah, well, I grew up sailing, and before I was, an accomplished mogul skier, I was somewhat of an accomplished junior sailor. I grew up on the central coast of New South Wales, sailed out of the local Gosford Sailing Club there, and my parents were sailors. My grandparents are all sailors, so that was sort of in our blood. And yeah, I mean, when I was young, 10, 12 or so years old, I had, an ambition to go to the Olympics for sailing and skiing, ideally at the same sort of time.
So doing both. But you could have been the dual sport, summer and winter. I like that.
I mean, yeah, as an ambitious 12-year-old, that was the dream. But then, 2 or 3 years later, I sort of started to realize that I guess financially it was going to be bloody hard for mum and dad, as they've already buried themselves with my skiing career early on. But then also, I guess just the logistics doing a summer and winter sport is it's almost impossible, really. I I have to spend the European summer overseas, and then, I'd just be on the road constantly. So anyway, it wasn't to be, but obviously chose skiing. But I still have that passion for sailing. I love being out on the water. I get out when I can, and once I've put my boots and skis away from the competitive side of things, I'd like to get back on the boat as much as possible.
I was gonna say, is there like some sort of swap we could do? Like, could we get like Matt Wern out there sort of on the skis and you could get out on the boat or something like that? Like, surely the AOC can arrange some sort of, cool little social media swap for the day or something. That would be fun.
Yeah, maybe. I just need one of the big maxi boats to put me on board, and I'll do a little trip down to Hobart one year, hopefully.
Yeah, Sydney to Hobart, get on board. It's that time of year that we're recording it, right? Everyone's thinking about that, right? So there you go.
Yeah, we'll see.
That's crazy. That's crazy to think that. But I mean, I guess on reflection, you've made a pretty, all right career out of sort of the skiing. When it sort of came to the skiing, the typical Australian question of how do you get into skiing, and also what was it about freestyle that tickled your fancy? Because I believe you did sort of try your hand at some of the other sort of skiing disciplines as well.
Yeah, so I started skiing just when I was young. First put skis on when I was 3 years old down at Perisher, and just started out doing family holidays. My dad skied a little bit growing up throughout his teenage years and early 20s, just with his mates and I guess his family. And then my mum had like never seen snow, basically believed it was a massive waste of money because it's expensive. And anyway, he eventually convinced mum to go down on like a bit of a trip with their friends. And then she sort of fell in love with it once she got the hang of it. And then, that was sort of how we got into it a year or two later. And then, did that for a few years and then joined the club program at Perisher, which was a weekend thing when I was like 7 or 8 years old, and started out doing a bit of everything. I mean, you're in like a little Devo group, just skiing around the mountain basically with some instructors. And we do a bit of moguls, do a bit of a slope style and pipe, and then also a little bit of gauge training. But I just did the moguls from pretty early on. I found it was the most enjoyable, the most exhilarating. And then it also combines sort of all aspects of the sport, the fast-paced technical side that our playing gives, but then also the jumps and an acrobatic component that like the park and pipe gives as well. I guess that was sort of what drew me to it early on, and I guess the rest is history.
Is it always just moguls? Is always the one that I just look at and go like how does somebody want it? Like, 'cause again, I'm just not a skier, Matt. So of course I'm going to go like it's going to hurt your knees, it's going to do this, it's going to do that. But like, I mean, we always get the same answer when I sort of bring that up on this show. But like, it amazes me just how passionate people become about moguls. So sort of us naive people who know nothing about skiing are clearly wrong, because that seems to me the most fun one, because every time we get somebody on from moguls, they're like talking about, this is great, this is an amazing discipline, bugger the half pipe, bugger this sort of stuff. It's all about the bumps, it's all about the moguls. That's the fun's at.
Yeah, I mean, it's a challenge. Even just for the general population, when you have like a natural mogul run, I mean, a lot of people run the other way, but the avid skiers really want to, I guess, have a crack at them, because it's like groomers are great and all, but I mean, it gets a bit boring after a while, to be honest.
Yeah.
Whereas when you got like an off-piste mogul run and the bumps are either, on a powder day, they're great. And then on a slushy day, they're great as well, especially at the end of the day. I mean, if they're icy, I'd stay away. But when they're powder bumps or slushy bumps, it's good fun. And it's a good challenge. And it's hard work for, I guess, Joe Blow to make their way down down any sort of mogul line. And then obviously once it gets into the more like sport-specific discipline of mogul skiing, then it's obviously a lot more structured with set runs and jumps, and the lines are mogul lines are a bit more, I guess, consistent, as opposed to like a natural form mogul slope.
Your progression in the sport, so when you're 15, your World Cup debut, which I believe was just before Vancouver, if I'm not mistaken, and you're 27th on debut at the test event, or the qualification event prior to that. I mean, sort of when you are able to achieve that close to an Olympics, obviously maybe just slightly ahead of your time there. I mean, Scotty James was 15 and Britt were 15, weren't they, in Vancouver? So I'm saying you were capable of making it to those games, Matt. But I mean, does that give you a bit of a boost sort of leading into that to think, well, okay, this is all right, world stage, I'm doing this right now, bring on Sochi, I'm ready to go?
Yeah, I mean, ever since I was like 10 or 12 years old, I knew I'd already done the maths in my head. I knew I was going to be 19 years at Sochi, and that was going to be a good chance to qualify and go to those Olympics, and then to be 23 at PyeongChang Olympics, that was going to be my best chance to go for a medal or a gold medal. So as a young age, I was sort of calculated in that respect, and had already sort of picked, planned everything out. And then anyway, in 2010, I remember getting before we went overseas in November or December, my coach at the time, Peter Spalovic, Popper, sent me the schedule, and on the schedule it had, Deer Valley World Cup. And I was like, at the time, I was like, what the hell? This must be a mistake. I'm not going to go compete in a World Cup. I'm 15 years old and probably not any good enough. Anyway, as it turns out, it wasn't a mistake. We're all going, and we got the privilege to go and compete. And it was the last qualifying event before the Vancouver Olympic Games. And so the field was stacked, like that 2000s, all those 2000 skiers were high quality skiers, and they're all gunning to qualify as Vancouver Olympics. And that was their last opportunity. So I think that event had over 70 male competitors.
Wow.
And I was just, this tiny little 15-year-old skiing with people I'd looked up to that point in time. And to come away with the 27th, met the individual qualifications to go to the Olympic Games. And at that point in time, we had obviously Dale had qualified, another skier, Cooper, had qualified, but he literally just half blew his knee out at that event. And then we had a third person, Sam Hall, who was right on the cusp of qualifying. And if Sam had qualified his spot, and then if Ramon didn't go because of his injury, I would have slotted in and replaced Ramon.
Wow.
Which is sort of what happened to Scotty James. He made that individual qualification, and then one of his countrymen, Nate Johnson, broke his wrist or his ankle or something and couldn't compete. So then Scotty swooped in and got his spot. And if that was to be, which obviously it wasn't, I would have trumped Britt and Scotty and been the youngest. But
crazy.
So I'm a month or so younger than Britt. But anyway.
Wow.
Doesn't matter. It's all, I wasn't expecting to go. It would have been great and a cool experience, but
close still. Wow.
Yeah, it all came down to whether Ramon was going to make it back, which was sort of 50-50. I'm glad he made it back. He deserved to go. He was a really good skier and had some great results that year. And then he retired after those Olympics. And then Sam Hall unfortunately didn't get his spot. Anyway, so I wouldn't have gone. Even if Ramon couldn't go, Sam would have slotted in front of me.
Gone there instead.
It was close for a minute, and I didn't realize at the time. I didn't know what the qualification process was or anything. I just went out and skied and got myself a 27th position. And then all of a sudden, a day or so later, Mike and the AOC are calling me, being like, we got to do all this uniform sizing because you might be going to the Olympics. And I was just like what the hell? What do you mean? How does that work?
Wow.
But anyway, yeah. After that event, we went off to Europe and competed in the Europa Cup tour, where I did reasonably well at. And then I came home and Britt flew off to back to North America to go to the Olympics. So it was pretty cool to see that.
Jeez, that's crazy. I not long ago I watched. I've got some of the old Channel 9 coverage of 2010, and they were doing interviews with Scotty and Britt, and just to see how young they were. And it's just crazy to kind of see that footage now. 15.
15 is young.
Yeah. That's
especially in our sports. 15 and gymnastics or diving, it seems kind of normal.
Yeah.
But as a mogul skier where it's so physical, you're out of your depths, really. You're up against this David versus Goliath sort of stuff. So, it's like seeing a 15-year-old in the Olympics for 100 meter sprinting. It's almost humanly not possible because you're not physically capable at that point in your life. But yeah, we had Britt there and Scotty, and then obviously they went on to have really good careers, and I just missed out and have gone on to have a pretty successful career myself. So it's cool to see that early come through. It means obviously a lot of the systems in place in Australia are working. Because I guess after those Olympics, Scotty, myself and Britt were targeted by the likes of the Olympic Wind Institute to be we got to put a decent amount of eggs in that basket because there's obviously talent there, and if we can harness it, then we can get a lot of future success, which they've obviously done.
You touched on the stack field going into, this is 2010. we're talking Dale's still around. We recently had Alex Bilodeau on the show, sort of just before he goes on to win his first of his 2 golds. I mean, this is a really, glorious period for mogul skiing in the men's side of things. Let's bring up Dale, because this is obviously coming off the back of him winning gold in 2006. I found an article where just ahead of Beijing where you were talking about your first introduction to Dale, and this sort of came about, you were, I believe, skiing, and sort of he had seen you and invited you to train along with him. But I mean, do you remember sort of that first interaction with Dale, and what was it sort of like to meet the current Olympic champion in the sport that you were trying out at that stage?
Yeah, I mean, I guess before that time, I was 13 when that happened, which would have been, I think it was probably 2008 or so. I'd met him, in the years prior to that, just through like skiing at Perisher and when he was out training and competing in our national events. I was just this little kid who just used, basically wanted an autograph or something like that. So he sort of knew who I was a bit. And then around that 2008 time, I'd started to be coached by his coach, Steve Desovich. Obviously, Dale was like I'm living in Canada for the most of the year, and then you come out to Australia for certain camps. And so when Dale wasn't around, Des would be sort of coaching a lot of the younger athletes. And so I was coached by Des for that Aussie winter in 2008. And then Dale came out sort of in September, I think it was, or maybe it was the very end of August, because he'd blown his knee like 7 months prior to that in the Deer Valley World Cup. I think it was January or February. Anyway, so he was coming back, sort of reintroducing his skiing load and getting back in the moguls. And then, him and Des approached me one day saying, this is what we want to do. And I was like, that'd be unreal. And anyway, he coached me for a couple of days, and I remember him picking me up at whatever time in his car, and we drive up to the ski tube. And it was crazy. I mean, as a 13-year-old, I was just sort of, in a strange place. But then that sort of started a pretty cool friendship with him and I. Like, he was obviously became a bit of a mentor from then on in, and I guess took a lot of interest in my career as a skier.
Which must be pretty special then too, because like you're up and coming, you're going through those ranks, and obviously what we just talked about, what happened just before Vancouver, but he's still basically the best in the world, right? He's going to Vancouver at that point to defend his gold. He narrowly misses out on defending his gold. I mean, you're not a swimmer and all of a sudden Emma McKeon's picking you up in the next morning and drive. Ian Thorpe, like that's not happening in those sports, right? So like, I mean, as you're saying, sort of as a 13-year-old, but like just how helpful was he in your development? Because we're going to touch on some, Dale myths and rumors to shut them all up to bed after all these years. But like, I mean, he seems like somebody who, from what we've heard on this show, through people like Britt, through Cooper and other people, that just, he was such a strong mind in being able to not only help athletes, but the whole program in Australia in general too.
Yeah, I mean, obviously success, originally, like his success sort of brought in a lot of funding for the program. And that's just the way it is in Australia. Like, I guess when I said earlier, like success breeds success, like, I mean, success brings the funding in, which then helps the whole program and building a bigger support network. And then obviously, young kids see that and want to be a part of it. And I was just one of those kids once upon a time. And yeah, I mean, after that period, like Dale and I sort of, like this is, before smartphones and Facebook and all that stuff. So we occasionally email basically. And from then on in, especially after like that 2010 Olympics, that's when I was going through my later adolescence, getting on the World Cup tour more full time. And Dale was sort of had taken a back step in that period after Vancouver Games. And so he would, we sort of be emailing before and after events, I'd send him some clips, like, and Des, my coach, who was Dale's coach, Steve Desovich, we'd sort of be all linked in, and we'd be getting Dale's input as well for a lot of things on my skiing and what I needed to do. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Like, we're still in touch these days, the odd
so you're still in, so we know he exists still, like, because he sort of seems to have just disappeared into the mist, and we like to hear that he's still out there somewhere. That's good to know.
Yeah, I'm sure he was pretty happy to disappear and go into the mist, to be honest, and just focus on his own life and family. So, but yeah, he still goes on ski holidays. Like, I know he often sends me updates of his kids hitting hitting the little terrain park jumps and stuff, and
That's good.
it's pretty funny. But yeah, he still skis a little bit, and he's just a family man now, I guess.
Does he have a tropical island? Can you confirm or deny whether or not he has his own private island of the Caribbean? You might be the perfect person to answer this question once and for all.
I mean, I don't believe so. No.
We're always trying to get to the bottom of it because I think it made the news, after Beijing when Cooper was 6. I think I remember a headline coming out, basically he coming out and said like, I got a text from somebody and it just said like, good job, you were robbed, DBS. And he's like, oh, is that Dale? And I think that might be like literally the last form of anything to have from that, which, was great. I mean, just all the shit that he got. Because like we absolutely love him on this show. Like, I mean, he's right there. He's on the wall of fame. He's on the shirt. He's our white whale, Matt. Please, next time you talk to him, pass it on. If he comes on this show and says one word and hangs up, we'll be happy. But like all the shit that he got, particularly from the Australian media, because it was very cruel. They were all sort of more focused on the private side of things rather than his competitiveness. I mean, do you feel as we approach the 20th anniversary of that gold medal that he needs to get some more love, some more respect? Like what can we do in Australia to honour this man? Because he's still our co-most successful Winter Olympian of all time. People seem to forget that.
Yeah, I mean, I think he secretly enjoys being the villain a little bit, being the international man of mystery. But no, I mean, I obviously got to know him a lot, and I remember talking to him quite a long time ago about it. And like when he was skiing in Canada, him and his brother obviously started their businesses and whatnot, basically to pay for their skiing adventures and their training costs. And the Canadian team were like, nah, well, you can't do that. You got to, be fully committed to skiing. And so that's why he came out. He's like, well, I need to do this to be able to ski. So he approached Australia and to see whether it was possible to come out and ski with the Australian team. And obviously that all worked out. I think it took a long time, but they figured out how to get it done. And anyway, once his business started to do well, all of a sudden, I remember him telling me that like when he was young, he'd go out and try and approach sponsors and do the media stuff to, I guess, build a bit of a brand. But once he was doing well enough that in the sport, but also business wise, he's like, well, I don't need any of that shit. I don't need to worry about my own brand and getting sponsors to pay for my skiing lifestyle, like, because he had that with his business. So he was literally able to ski because he wanted to ski, which I think is pretty romantic in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Because he didn't have to worry about, like, he couldn't give a shit about the media or doing any media stuff because he didn't need it. It wasn't for him. He was doing it because he wanted to ski. And in his off periods, he's off being a businessman and being successful in other realms of life. So it was more of like his glorified hobby. He just happened to be the best in the world at it, which is pretty awesome.
One of the favorite ones I loved, and I think I found an interview, I think it was with Ian Chesterman. It was about like middle January, sort of beginning of February 2014. And he was being asked like, oh, so is Dale going to be competing at Sochi? And sort of Ian Chesterman's like, oh, we've been in contact with Dale. And I think there's sort of that long-standing, story I feel of that he was basically contacted like, are you coming to the next Olympics, Dale? And he's like, yeah, all right, may as well. So like, I mean, just sort of this myth that kind of builds into that of sort of, it was like a glorified hobby. And this is part of the reason why we love him so much, because it's just sort of like, it's just kind of this ongoing, mystique around the man of sort of, oh yeah, February. I mean, like, to me, it honestly wouldn't surprise me, Matt, if come Milano Cortina, he's next to you as your teammate. Like, oh, fuck it, it's been 12 years. Give it another crack. Why not? Right? Like, there he is.
I'm sure he'd be able to come back in a heartbeat and do his old back X Cork 7 run, no dramas. Sport hasn't changed that much. But yeah, I remember that 2013, 2014 Sochi season. Like, yeah, he'd obviously started training that often. He'd done a little bit in the years prior to that, but basically he was on a bit of a hiatus. And then he came back a bit more seriously, did a bit more training and was doing really well in training. And at a October camp in Switzerland up on the glacier, he was ripping runs as good as anyone. But the sport had progressed a little bit in the jump department. And so because of that, his package of a back X Cork 7 probably wasn't going to give him a medal, or it would have been extremely hard. And so once he sort of realised that, but qualified his own position, he was like, oh, well, I guess I'll just go for a bit of fun. He had a bunch of his mates there in Sochi as well, and they kind of had a bit of a boys trip. And but yeah, it was unfortunate the way it ended for him. Like in the competition, I felt really bad for him. Like he didn't deserve to, I guess, go out of the sport in that fashion, landing on his face essentially. And he struggled on that Sochi course. It was a very hard course, probably one of the hardest courses I've skied. Just the conditions, I guess the way they built the course, the Russians really tried to make it challenging for the Canadians to do their high degree of tricks. And I mean, it kind of worked in a way. They got a bronze medal out of Alexander Shmishliev. But I mean, the likes of Alex Billiter and Mikael Kingsbury, I mean, they're that good that they could make it work on anything. So they got the gold medal. But yeah, Dale sort of struggled on that course just because obviously he was in shape, I guess, relative to a Joe Blow, but he wasn't in shape compared to what he was when he was in his prime. He was getting on age-wise, his knees were sore, and physically he wasn't in the shape he probably needed to be. But when the conditions provided, like he was still one of the best guys there, skiing wise anyway.
Not a bad boys trip, third Olympics, just rocking up to Sochi. I mean, we had Mikko Ronkkinen silver medal from Turin, and then we obviously had Alex on, and we both asked them any, good stories with Dale going out drinking after the medal wins or anything along those lines. I mean, you're good buddies with him, Matt. Like, I mean, what's a night out in the town with Dale Begg-Smith like? Is there any fun stories or kind of like, give us an idea of what it's like?
I mean, well, he's probably the most wealthy mogul skier of mine. Not from mogul skiing, but from his businesses. And so, yeah, if you're on his good side, he's always happy to, buy some rounds.
Good boys trip.
Yeah. But yeah, we didn't have too many experiences together because obviously he wasn't there for a lot of those periods from like 2012 to 2014. He sort of was there that last year. And that last season, it was pretty fun because before that, I knew Dale as a mentor, whereas that season he was a teammate. And at certain locations on tour, you stay in condos together. And so we got to live with him a bit and I guess see what he's like around the house.
What's he like around the house, Matt? Come on, break the news here. Is he clean housemate or?
Oh, I wouldn't say clean. I mean, if he was, I've seen his house when he lives by himself. It was pretty dirty, but he was pretty comfortable to live with this was at the Deer Valley World Cup that year. And anyway, it was, we flew in for this event, the Deer Valley World Cup, and generally you have like 2 official training days and then you have 2 days of competition. And usually the first official training day is pretty stressful, pretty tense. Everyone's out there trying to figure out the course, figure out their line. And Dale, obviously he was pretty sore at the time, maybe from the week prior. And anyway, he's like, it's going to snow. Like the course is going to be so different. I'm not going to, I don't need to go out there. You guys will see when you let me know how it goes. So we come back from training, like we're all sort of like distraught, pissed off, because the course was challenging and hard. We couldn't figure it out. We come back. He's just sitting in the hot tub, just chilling. And he's like, how was it? He asked us how it was and we're all pissed off, swearing and, fuck this, fuck that. And anyway, he's like, guys, it's fine. It's going to snow. Like, it's going to snow 6 inches. It's going to be sweet. Anyway, it wasn't forecast, but somehow he willed it to happen. And it snowed. The course was powder. It was beautiful. And he just came out, did his run.
Wow.
Got like, I don't know, he got 6th or something. And that basically qualified him for the Olympics. And he's like, all right, I'm going. I'll see you guys at the Olympics. I'm going to Cayman Islands to be with my family.
This is why we want, part of the reason why you want Matt to live up to these, like ticking off private islands, ticking off showing up and just, chilling. Yeah, whatever. It's no weather savant, Dale Begg-Smith. There you go. Just, he's got that nose. What was it? Was it Mean
It was
Girls?
remarkable. We couldn't believe it. He willed it to happen. But anyway, he came to the Olympics that year in Sochi and we hadn't seen him since the event. We had one more competition the following week and then a little pre-Olympic camp. And then we went over to Russia. We didn't really see or hear from him. And he just rocks up in Russia. And I was chatting to him. I think we're having breakfast or something together, sort of in that little lead up period before the event. And he shows me his shin. His shin's just got bloody, because he'd been surfing and he got smashed on a coral reef,
Wow.
His shin's just grazed up from coral. And he's like, oh, I'm fucking dealing with this bloody half-infected shin. And
Oh, wow.
so, yeah. Safe to say he was pretty relaxed in Sochi.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Because I think I was also, because it's hard to find sort of anything on media wise on him outside of like, oh, he's shit, he's, whatever. But like the one thing I read about in Sochi is that he was meant to show up on a flight. Like all the Australian media were waiting for him. But then he landed and he like snuck under a thing and basically like saw him and like, wait, like, see ya. And then all the Australian media were pissed off and going off, I think, at like the chef de mission and everything. I'm like, this is just gold. This is just Dale. This is why I love him so much.
Yeah. That's what I mean. He likes to be the villain.
Yeah. I want to wake up one day and he's just released a book.
That wouldn't happen to anyone, but it would happen to Dale. And like, he literally, the plane or whatever just went to the other terminal. And there wasn't like a proper terminal that his plane went to. It was like this bloody glorified tent. And he was like, what the fuck? This doesn't seem right. Anyway, he got his bags. He walks out on the street. There's no one there. And he's like, where the hell is he around? So he called like, the chef de mission or the AOC or whatever. And they were like, where the hell are you guys? Like, I'm just over here. And then they were just, and at that point it was like late at night. And he's like, I just want to get the fuck out of here and go to my hotel. And so they sort of tried to sneak him out of there. And then as they do that, obviously the media catches onto it because they're expecting Dale to walk out. Mm-hmm. So they start asking questions, where is he? And then they saw him and they're all running for him. And yeah.
Oh, I wish I was a journalist back then. I'd be the one batting for him. All these people bitching and moaning about him. Like, I'm like, come on, this is like part of the fun. Like, what are you doing? He would, if this was today with social media and everything, he would be Australia's favourite athlete. I mean, he should be still. Let's be honest. But I mean, it's just it's crazy that. I mean, 20 years that we are approaching that. I just want to put on the sort of the vibe out there, Matt, that, 20 years ago, Italian Olympics, gold medal, it all worked for Dale. Like, there's good juju in the Italian water for men's mogul skiing, right? Like, this has got to be good vibes for you going in 20 years later after Dale back to Italy. It might be a different part of the country, but still, right? Like, you see where I'm going with this, right?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't thought of that. So
you're welcome.
No, it's pretty romantic.
Yeah.
Hopefully it happens, but we'll see.
Yeah. I wanted to see him like texting you like, you were robbed. Well done, DBS. And he just goes back off into the mist. I want to quickly touch on PyeongChang. I rewatched the event going into that because in that super final, you go down third and there's still 3 to go after you. I mean, pretty bloody good score, obviously, that you get at that point to go into the lead. But I mean, I always love watching you guys in the, I don't know, it's not the kiss and cry, that's figure skating, but just a little area where you're waiting for people to sort of come down. Like, what are the nerves like at that point? Because you've done pretty well. You've obviously got some part of you don't want people to crash, but I'm sure there's part of you going like, oh, fuck up, fuck up, fuck up, fuck up. Like, before it gets to sort of the next skier, how are you feeling? Are you thinking that's good enough for a medal at that point?
Yeah, I mean, I personally believed it was well and truly enough for a medal. And at that point in time, like, I mean, that super final it wasn't super hotly contested. Like a lot of the other big name athletes had crashed out in the round prior to that. Mm. And so really it was just me and Mick, bib 1 and bib 3. And then all the other bibs were basically just random. And so I remember going up the chairlift before that run being like, I'd already sort of calculated who was in the super final. I'm like, all right, like put your run down, like you would walk on the podium easy. And anyway, I did my run and it was my best run of the day. And as soon as I crossed the line, I knew it was good enough for a gold or silver. And I would have been probably pissed off if it was not either a gold or silver, given the other people in the super final at that point in time. And basically it was going to come, the colour of that medal was going to come down to whether Mick did his run that he can do or if he made a little mistake. So when Mick was going down, I was kind of like, like, make a little mistake for me, please. But he put like a flawless run down. As soon as he landed the bottom jump, I was like, oh, silver medal.
Pretty good.
It should be a silver medal. But then there was still Daichi Hara from Japan to go who got the bronze medal. Mm-hmm. And he was a good skier and skiing really well on that course. But I believed I was better. And I was like, if he beat me, I would have been a bit annoyed. And it came down, it was pretty close. He put a smoking run down. But his jumps, in my opinion, weren't good enough to sort of compete with my run package. And he was probably a little bit slower. So I was sort of reasonably, I mean, when he came down, I was like, I should beat him, but he was the highest qualifier. Other judges are going to give him a bit of leniency. And thankfully, in my from my point of view, he slotted into third place.
Worked out all right.
But yeah, there is that point in time. You come down, and there's still 3 people to go. I could have, if those people all put absolute smokers down, I could have been the bridesmaid and finished in 4th place. But anyway, it sort of worked out. And but at that time, I did believe that I had done enough for at least a medal, and probably enough for a gold or silver.
What is the emotion like? Like, so when Casey goes down after you, and then you realise that he's not going to beat you, so you've obviously only got Mick and Douchy to go, so you guaranteed a medal, right? And obviously you want gold. Everyone's there for the gold, but is there at least a moment where it's almost just like a relief in a way that no matter what happens, even if it's the bronze, you are leaving as an Olympic medalist. You at that point, the 11th Australian to ever win a Winter Olympic medal. I mean, this is very rare for an Australian athlete to do so at the Winter Olympics. Like, I mean, can you take solace at that point knowing that you're going to win a medal no matter what colour it is?
Yeah, I mean, I think that sort of set in as soon as I crossed the finish line, really. It was like, oof, it's done. Like, my job's done now. It's obviously up to what the other people do. And then, once Casey sort of made a mistake on the bottom jump, then I was like, worst case third, which was exciting. But then also I was still just watching the event, to be honest. I get to spectate, watch Mick's run and Daichi. But like at that point, I'd sort of known I should have done enough to get to silver. But there was every chance that they could have given it to Daichi and I could have got a bronze. And I would have been happy, looking back on it, I'd still be happy with the bronze, but I still would have been a little bit annoyed. I think I was obviously happy with the silver. Well and truly deserved that gold medal on that run. So credit to him. But it was just big satisfaction. It was like a big feeling of relief and satisfaction. And best joy, having family and everyone there. It was just a bit of a whirlwind experience. Which
at the end of the day, if you're going to be beaten by anyone to an Olympic gold medal, you're going to be beaten by arguably the greatest mogul skier of all time, right? I mean, sort of looking back on that. And I mean, even looking at the stats in terms of, I had to go back all the way back to see when Mick won his first Crystal Globe. The fact that since he won his first Crystal Globe in, I believe it was 2011, 2012, the only person to win a Crystal Globe that is not called Mikael Kingsbury since he started was you. So, pretty decent company there. This is a question kind of from Colin in a way, because obviously, as I said, he follows the World Cup very, very closely. And it's a weird question. I didn't ever think I was going to ask a guest this question, but are you closely monitoring Mikael Kingsbury's groin right now, given his injury?
His injury? Definitely not closely monitoring it.
That was a half Colin question. I just wanted to point that out.
I mean, I feel for him. Like it's his last season, his last Olympics, and to have that happen in the lead up is pretty frustrating for him. Like he's basically gone his whole career with virtually no injuries. I mean, he broke the year I got the Globe, he broke his upper back, fractured a vertebrae or so. So he missed a few events, which is sort of how I sort of slotted in and got that Globe. Like he was still the man to beat and would have won that season, I believe, if he didn't injure himself. But I was able to sort of capitalize on that. And I just feel for him. Like he's a good mate of mine, sort of family man these days. So we bond a lot over, I guess, going into parenthood over the last 18 months. I hope it comes good. I mean, he was skiing in Rooker and doing really well on any given run, but I think he just didn't really want to push it when we're in Finland. He didn't want to have like a big setback because it was still pretty early days. And his goal is obviously to be fit and ready come February. And I believe he's anticipating competing in January in Helsinki at home and then also in Deer Valley. And there's a bit of pressure on him as well at the moment because he's going for his 100th World Cup win. So he doesn't really want to compete if he's not fit and able to compete at 100%, because these days, like you got to be percent to be going for a gold medal. If you have any sort of hindrance, like good luck to you. You got the likes of Walter Warburg, Kumar, me, Vancouver, like all these guys sort of knocking at the door of that top step. So you really got to be ready to go. And if you're skiing at 90%, 80%, it's not going to happen for you.
Does it I mean, it's probably a dumb question to ask. You're always driven. You always want to win, of course, no matter who you're competing against. But when you're going up against someone like him, like I would, picture this if you're a swimmer in the Michael Phelps era or a sprinter in the same Bolt era, like, does kind of something drive you a little bit harder to want to beat someone of that nature? So on your resume, you're going to reflect back. I mean, you already have. You beat him to a crystal globe. But I mean, sort of like that might add a little bit more weight to your success that you beat the great Mikael Kingsbury.
I mean, yeah, I guess so. Like, it's nice to beat him at full strength as well. I've won 5 World Cups now, and on 3 occasions I've outskied him. He's finished in second place. So on those given days, it was nice to get one back on him, because every time I finish second, he's won at World Cup, World Championships, and Olympic Games. So it's nice to get one back on him every now and then. And obviously, ideally it'd be great to do it at Olympic Games. But at the moment, I mean, it's not just Mick you're versing. Like, you've got Ikuma, who is arguably better than Mick in a lot of ways. Probably not. He's not as good as a competitor, obviously, but Ikuma has this ability where if he lays down his best run, like, I don't know if anyone's beating it, even Mick. Like, it's, he's doing crazy stuff with the jumps, and he skis really fast and really well. So Ikuma is sort of the man to beat if he does his run, if everyone does their run. But Mick just has an ability to do his run more than anyone. So that's why his record's so good.
I'm just putting it out there still. Italian Olympics, men's moguls, year ending with
You're romantic.
Number 6. I mean, it's Dale Begg-Smith, Matt. Like, I mean, come on, it's 20. We're celebrating 20 years. We've got to just bring this back, right? I remember back in Beijing, we were celebrating. I mean, rightfully so. Bradbury's gold, Alyssa's gold. Our first ever golds. I'm hoping that we're going to be doing a bit more celebratory things for Dale come 2026 as well. But we'll see how. If we're the only ones doing it, we'll take it. We'll be very happy with that. Matt, we're going to get to our.
Well, I think regardless of the men's mogul 20 years, like, I think we have a lot of opportunities in the moguls team. With the likes of Chikara, myself, Cooper's doing really well, and also Charlotte Wilson. We got a few long shots as well.
4 gold medals we're going to get. That's what you're saying. That's what I heard, Matt. 4, right? The duels and the single moguls, right?
We'll see.
Guys,
time will tell.
Sweep the podium. That's what I'm saying. Come on. That's what can happen. Before we get to our wrap-up questions, you mentioned Scotty James before. I love this little. You did an interview recently with the Australian Olympic website, and you touched on the fact that you won your 5th World Championship medal recently, which was the most ever achieved by an Australian winter athlete for 2 days. Then Scotty James came out and equaled it a couple of days later. I mean, is there, like, can you have a rivalry with a snowboarder? I don't know. But I mean, I picture this weird scenario, Matt, that you're going to go out and win gold. You're going to equal Dale and Tora as our most successful Winter Olympians of all time. Then fucking Scotty's going to come out and win a gold a couple of days later and eclipse all of you. Like, you're going to have this glory. Like, can we just put it out there, this weird rivalry with Scotty for medals overall? It's a weird thing that I never thought about heading into this interview.
I mean, if that's how it turns out, I won't care.
I don't think anyone will in Australia.
Me on that one. Yeah. No, it was funny that. I mean, I remember when, I sort of view like success on gold medals rather than amount of medals. And anyway, at the World Championships last year, I got my 5th World Championship medal, which made me the most winningest World Championship winter sport athlete in Australia. But when that headline came out, I'm like, that's kind of like, that's a bullshit headline. Like, all these guys have got multiple gold medals. I've got 1 gold medal to my name. And then anyway, Scotty comes out and gets, I don't know, has he got 4 gold medals maybe? Are they all 5? I don't even know. But anyway, obviously his success is sort of trumps mine on a lot of different levels. But it was sort of funny that.
I like that. We just need to get you a Netflix documentary. Because I think he's just about to have a Netflix doco dropped on him, isn't he?
He does. I watched it the other day. It was really quite good and entertaining. Obviously, I know the story because I know him.
Yep.
And I've been sort of part of the story from the mogul side of things. It was really well done.
Does he get you invited into the F1 paddock? Obviously, I know his brother's a brother-in-law.
He hasn't hit me up yet. No.
Come on, Scotty.
I'm waiting for that invite, but he's also a fellow father. So We share a little special bond there as well, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he was in Frembo this season for a period of time, training up there, and we crossed paths briefly at the Wild Brumby Distillery, and him and Chloe and his little boy Leo were in the back seat of their car, and Ada had just started walking, and he was like, I think Leo's maybe a few weeks younger than my daughter Ada, and he's like, oh, is Ada like walking or anything yet? I'm like, yeah, she just, and Leo was still not up to that yet. He's like, oh shit, like I gotta get Leo bloody into training in this bullshit.
You got one over Scotty. There you go. That counts.
Yeah.
I like that. Would you like to see Ada sort of get involved in, like, I mean, obviously, in sports, or sort of whether it be moguls, or kind of just see what she likes to do when she gets to that age?
I mean, I like to hope she'd be involved in sports in some aspects, whether it's competitively at an elite level or just recreationally. I think it's great. It's a great lifestyle, and my wife Jess, she was into sport a lot growing up, but more of the mainstream sport. She was a swimmer and did like netball, touch footy, and all those sort of things that most Sydney school people do. Obviously, I chose the weird, unique route with sailing and snow sports. I think it's just such a great community in any sport. You make a lot of my friends from the sailing space are still there, and we still share a good bond, and obviously a lot of my long-term teammates are my best mates. So I think sport's a great community, great place to meet friends, and then from the parents' point of view, they get to sit back and drink beers and watch the kids succeed or fail, or either way, the parents are proud. So when we used to travel around Australia at sailing regattas, my parents were having a great old time, just kicking back, having beers while we went out sailing. So maybe that'll be me. I'll be a washed up has-been with a beer belly, but
who cares?
I hope not.
Well, at that point, you got a few medals to polish and kind of, crystal globes and all that. Actually, I forgot to ask a question. Where's the Olympic medal? What do you do with it? Is it on display in a sock drawer? Like, kind of, what do you do with it?
It's I've left it at my mum and dad's place.
Okay.
They have they got the space. They got it's literally in their pool room. So
they got the Matt Graham shrine, basically, when people come over.
I guess you could call it that. Yeah. Pretty much all the World Cup medals and memorabilia goes there, and they put it up, and I'll go there and open up the little box that the silver medal's in. But
there it is.
One of the first times I took my daughter up to my mum and dad's place, which is like my original home on the Central Coast. We went into the pool room, and I got the medal out, put it around her neck. So that was pretty special. And she was probably only 3 or 4 months old at the time. Would have been Christmas last year. So
nice.
Maybe I'll put it on her again this Christmas. Now she's a bit bigger.
Yeah.
She can walk around with it.
And next year she'll have a gold one to go around it as well, just to,
Exactly.
Looking.
We'll go with that.
Exactly. Matt, we
maybe
wrap up.
2 gold.
2 gold. Exactly. And then bring over Jakara with her too. Like, just Scotty crying with his bronze. So, you never know. Don't worry, Scotty. It's all right. Bronze is fine. We wrap up with 10 get to know style questions here, Matt. Sort of a nice way to wrap up what we've already talked about. And I'll start with the first one here. The one thing that you never leave home without when traveling to a competition. And you're not allowed to answer skis because that's the obvious one. I feel you need those when you compete.
Helmet.
That also works.
Unfortunately, we have to compete with helmets. Well, maybe not unfortunately, but we have to compete with them. So
probably works.
Just a general pack of stuff. Like you got water bottles, snacks, food, and all your essentials, spare goggles, spare everything. So it's just the stuff that always sort of come with you. Yeah. Just the usual kit.
Do you have
anything else you can take? I don't have like special t-shirts or underwear. I don't believe in that shit. So.
Okay. Well, you actually probably just answered the next one then. The next question is a traditional superstition you follow before every big event. You don't sort of do anything like that?
No, I'm anti-superstitious. I believe that, if you think that's going to make a difference, then
it doesn't.
You got to focus on the things that you can control. Anyway, it's
okay.
Some people obviously believe in it. They feel weird if they're not wearing special jocks or their favorite t-shirt. But what if those things break or gets caught in a house fire? Then all of a sudden, what, you're going to finish skiing or finish your career because you haven't got your special jocks? Like, come on. But each to their own.
I was going to ask, did you know if Dale had any superstitions or anything like that? I can't imagine Dale would. He says probably have the same mindset.
I mean, I don't know. I know him, but I don't know specifically of superstitions. But I'd say, knowing his personality, yeah, he'd be sort of on my side of the fence.
The hot tub, waiting for the snow, about 6 inches. Yeah, you bloody idiot skiing out there. A song that is on every one of your pre-competition playlists, no matter what.
Oh, same. I don't really.
Don't have any?
Have anything. No. Just anything and everything. I'm pretty loose with the music, to be honest.
Yeah. Do you have like a genre that's sort of a go-to, or?
Oh, I mean, if I need to be picked up, probably a bit of a throwback, to be honest. Like and sort of like that punk rock era from like the 90s, early 2000s.
Yep.
Sort of
okay.
Sort of get psyched playlist, maybe something like that.
Works. I like that. That works. I remember when we had Alex on, we rewatching his gold in Vancouver, you could hear like Zombie Nation playing in the background. I'm like, oh, was that your choice? Did you choose that? And he's like, I didn't even know that was a song, to be honest, until you pointed it out. So here we are as the audience go like, oh, Zombie Nation, banger of a song. And you're like, fuck it, I just want to win gold. So, whatever's playing on the hill, right?
There is, I think at previous Olympics, before my time anyway, yeah, you would put in your song request.
Wow. Okay.
Because I don't know, like moguls in particular, they make a big, like, you'll often have like a DJ or whatever, and whenever as soon as you push out the gate, they just dial up the music and it creates like a pretty cool atmosphere. Obviously, you can't hear it when you're skiing because there's too much shit going on, and you're just hearing snow and wind in your face. But from a spectator point of view, that's what I love about moguls. Is like like when they play like heavy rock or whatever, like as you're like blazing your way down the mogul course, like it's pretty cool atmosphere. And I think they will, and I do a really good job of that in Lavinia.
Which, because I mean, obviously you touched on Deer Valley, but like, what are some of the other ones? Like, if you're going to a World Cup somewhere around the world, like, where are the best spectator ones to go watch moguls?
I mean, pretty much anyone you can walk to. Like a lot of them you can.
Mm-hmm.
Like Rooker's pretty cool because it's like it's a unique, like you finish basically down sort of right in the village there. So it's easily accessible. I mean, most of them you can really, but the one that Deer Valley just has the good atmosphere with the night event. Balsant Combe in any event in Quebec's pretty good because the Quebecians love the mogul skiing over there. So they always get behind it. And obviously when, Mikael Kingsbury and historically like the Defola Point sisters are competing, then the whole of the state gets behind it. So there's always a pretty good atmosphere there as well.
We always love bringing up the Defola Point sisters because to this day, my proudest moment on this show is getting all three of them on the show for Colin because, as I said, Colin loves moguls and Colin loves the Defola Point sisters. So I just sat back and enjoyed him having a fun time interviewing them and embarrassing the shit out of him. Like, he's a married man, but he was a very happy man that he wanted to learn French to watch their reality show. So I don't know if he actually did that. So
bit of a fanboy,
just a little bit. He's got pictures of them on his wall behind him, and that's crazy, right? Who would have pictures of people on behind there? Just sitting behind them. The most unexpected or funny DM that you have ever gotten as an Olympian?
I don't know if it's really funny, but one of the cool ones I remember was from Leighton Hewitt.
Oh, wow.
After PyeongChang, because I think I did their come on celebration in the finish area.
Nice.
And so he sort of reached out after that, which was pretty cool.
Not a bad one to get there from Leighton. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So I love this question because it brings out the freaks, but then it also brings out the cool ones like that. Like, Leighton. We had Canadian swimmer Penny Alexiak on, and she became Canada's most decorated Olympian of all time at that point, and we sort of brought up like, oh, you've got the Prime Minister like tweeting, you got Justin Trudeau like going congratulations, and she's like, yeah, I didn't really notice that, but I did when Drake tweeted about me, so it's sort of you've probably got the PM like, bugger the PM, Leighton Hewitt's messaging me. This is awesome. I don't remember who the PM would have been in 2018. We've had too many over the years. The weirdest thing you've ever eaten at an international competition, Matt, and did you like it?
To be honest, I probably don't know what it was. Like, it was probably in either China or Kazakhstan.
Yep. Usually common answer.
I think the cuisine in Kazakhstan is pretty unique. I mean,
okay.
Sometimes we call it mystery meat. You don't really know what it is most of the time.
We had a guest on recently who said something like that, and they later found out this meat they were eating, I think it was in France, was horse. And somebody told us later on it was horse. So I was like, oh.
Yeah, I mean, one of the Kazakhstan sort of delicacies is horse. So.
Yep.
I'm sure we've eaten a lot over there that we didn't know of. But.
I might know the answer to this one because I read on one of your bios, one of your favorite foods, but your ultimate guilty pleasure meal after a big competition.
Trying to think of what I would have put in a bio for that.
You said you liked a good steak, so I don't know.
I was going to say steak.
Yeah. I don't know if that might have been your go-to answer.
I think it's just something we do steaks really well in Australia. You go down to your local butcher and you get a beautiful steak. That's something I look forward to. And it's usually my first meal or request when I get home. So it's probably steak.
Steak, that's good.
Yeah, Jess, literally when I was coming home, she's like, oh, what do you want to do for dinner? Like, barbecue. I'm going to go get a steak.
Not even from the airport yet. You're at the butcher. Like, guys, I've been away for a while. You know what I want? Blow me up. Whack it on the barbecue. If you could swap sports for a day with another Olympian, what event would you choose and how do you think you'd fare?
I think it'd be pretty cool to, how do you think I'd fare? As in, how do you think I'd go? I mean, I'd go atrociously in all of them, relatively speaking to other Olympians. But if I was
not sailing, you're all right at that, right?
I mean, I'd be able to get a finish line, that's for sure. No, I think it'd be cool to do something unique. Maybe one of the hype, like sprinting, 100-meter sprint. Like that's like premier event of the summer games. So it'd be cool to. Obviously, I'd be left at the start line, but if I was competitive, it'd be pretty cool. They look like they have a great time.
That is the one that I.
And you get to be a bit of a. Not that I'm like I don't have a big ego, I wouldn't say. I like to think that I don't have a big ego, but
certain moments you have to.
It'd be fun maybe for 24 hours to pretend like you have one and go there and flaunt your shit on the 100-meter track. Because they all seem to have big egos.
That is the one though. Like if you're Noah Lyles, right? Like, and you are the fastest man on the planet. Like you got to have you got to walk around and be like, yeah, come on, like 9 point.
I don't think you have to. I don't think you have to. I mean, look at Mikael Kingsbury. He's greatest, in my opinion, the greatest athlete of all time in any sport. If you look at his record, he doesn't have a big ego.
But he's Canadian. They're just too nice. We know that, right? Like, I mean, if he was American, god damn, look out. We'd know how that would play out.
I think I'd have to have a few tequila shots before I go out there and flaunt my ego around.
How do you think Gout would go on the moguls then? Let's switch sports. Let's get Gout out there and you sprint like that, I just love seeing Gout on the street. Down. Yeah, that'd be fun. We're trying to get him into bobsled.
He's pretty tall and lanky looking at the moment.
Yeah.
You need a fella, I think, a little bit to
he might snap
get up and down the mogul course.
Third mogul down, he'd snap in half maybe or something like that.
Oh, I mean, I doubt he'd snap. He's pretty damn athletic. So.
That would.
I think those muscles and tendons in his legs are pretty strong.
I'm giving Channel 9 some really good ideas for future content. Come, Los Angeles when he's going for his first Olympics and you've got your 2 extra gold medals around your neck. Like, I'm just saying, this is some good content. If your Olympic journey were a movie, Matt, what would the title be and who would play you? And I've got some help here if you can't think of anything.
What would the title be? Not very creative.
Well, ChatGPT has given me some ideas. They're pretty shit, but I'll give you a couple here if you need some help at all.
Yeah, maybe give me some ideas and I might be able to run with it.
Yeah, so they're ones here. 1 turn from gold, the long run in, 4th winter, unfinished line. Don't like that one. Silver doesn't settle. Don't know about that one. I like this one. Between the bumps. That kind of almost seems like an expose. Matt Graham between the bumps. But
maybe
I don't mind that one. Eyes on Cortina.
I do like the documentary for Scotty. Like that's pretty cool. His one. It's called Pipe Dream.
Yeah. And
obviously he's half pipe skier. That's really cool. So I'd like it to have some sort of connection to moguls, but also like.
I think you can kind of have in the middle because between I don't know, that kind of something sells of that it's sort of, it goes along those ways actually with that. Have you ever been compared to an actor? Has anybody ever said like, oh, your doppelganger? I've got a doppelganger, but they're not an actor. But I just want to see first of all, if you've had any doppelgangers.
I know there's 2 doppelgangers who I've been compared to.
Okay.
One of them is a bit of a TV person, is Bear Grylls.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay. I can see it.
Maybe when he was 10 or 15 years ago when he was a bit younger. I think he's pretty old looking these days.
Yep.
And then there's an AFL player from the Brisbane Lions. I can't remember his name. I'd have to look it up. but he's a bit of a dinger.
The one that I was thinking, the one that I'm always thinking of is Mark Webber. Has anybody ever given you the Mark Webber comparisons before?
Yes.
See, I see
I have
Mark
had
Webber.
that before.
Yeah.
I'm looking up Brisbane Lions. What's his name? It's Dane Zorko.
Oh, Dane Zorko. Okay. Yeah. Yep. Okay.
Yeah. If you Google image him, he's on.
We could get one of them to
aspects.
act. Bear Grylls, Mark Webber, Dane Zorko. They could act. They could be in between the bumps. I could see that.
Yeah, maybe.
I worked that. We get ChatGPT.
They probably do a better job than I would.
Well, you know, if it's a documentary, I'd be a bit worried. But if it was a movie, you know, that one's all right. We get ChatGPT to put together a sort of a makeshift poster. And for our audio listeners, check out our video version. I'm not too sure in terms of the look-alike here. It doesn't really look too much like you, but we've got here between the bumps, the fight for the shot at gold. And you've got, I don't know if you'd want to wear your silver medal down the moguls there. That might actually probably hamper you there. But look, the gold's right there. It's right in front of you. Matt, take it.
It's a very patriotic Aussie green and gold suit.
I know, right?
I don't think we'll be wearing that at the Olympics. But
and then, yeah, that's very.
No, I can see that.
All the stars. There's a lot more than just the Southern Cross on you there. So, you know, that's going down there. Actually, speaking of bumps, I'm trying to get the name. We always name, obviously, Australia. We love naming our national teams, right? Socceroos, Matildas, things like that. I'm trying to get the Moguls team to call themselves the Bumperoos. You might be able to help with this because I think if I'm going to talk to anyone outside of Dale Begg-Smith, you might be the one to get this. Can we get something on? Because I think Bumperoos is a perfect name for you guys.
I mean, maybe it's a copycat idea though, because there's a lot of roos out there.
Yeah, but like it sells itself, right? Like, come on. Like, you know, the Bumperoos, like we've got the Flying Kangaroos, our aerial team, aren't they? So, you know, like, well, I mean, why don't we have a name? Like, we're so bloody good at moguls. I feel like we should have a name already.
Yeah, you're probably not wrong.
Yeah. Bumperoos.
I think we just don't have enough artistic personalities maybe in the team. I don't know.
If you can't call it the Bumper, just call yourselves the Begg-Smiths. There you go. The Dales. That's little Dale mascots going on the hill, little waving flags. I'd do that. We have on this show during the Winter Olympics, we do an athlete of the day during every single games. Summer Olympics, it's just called the athlete of the day. It's boring. But during the Winter Olympics, we call it the Daily Dale. And we've got a little medal with Dale Begg-Smith's, face on it. So just saying.
Okay.
Daily Dale.
I like that, the Daily Dale.
Yep.
I don't know if he's listening to your podcast at all, but
hey,
I feel like he should.
Pass it on. And as I said, all it takes is him to show up on the show, one word, I retire a happy man. That's it. Done. I'm good. Hello, Dale Begg-Smith. Bye. Hangs up. Thank you. Yep, you lived up to everything I ever thought about you. Brilliant. Matt, what's the one question you're tired of being asked, and what is the one that you wish people would ask you instead?
Tired of being asked. Oof. I mean, everyone always just asks. I mean, it's not even people ask. Like, you often go up the chairlift at Perisher, and a lot of people, in particular snowboarders, will look at the mogul course because it's right in there next to the chair and just be like, why the hell do you do that? I'm like sitting there next to them. They didn't realise I'm a mogul skier, and I'm like, because it's fun and it's a challenge. I think, why the hell would you snowboard when you can go faster on the skis?
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway,
I don't see the snowboard moguls. Basically, that should be a challenge. There's an event.
I mean, it was a thing back in, I think it was the 90s or so.
Really?
And snowboarding was early on. Yeah.
Wow.
They used to have some competitions in the moguls, but obviously in comparison, it was pretty lame.
Yeah,
because it's much slower. They couldn't do anything that incomparable to what we can do.
I don't picture it. I just don't see how that would work. How do you control yourself on a snowboard going down the moguls? I don't see it.
Oh, I mean, they can do it. They can get down moguls. Like, good snowboarders, they can get anywhere too. Don't get me wrong. But, it's a lot less exciting.
Yeah.
A lot more slow paced.
Yeah.
I'm sure they enjoyed it just as much, but enjoyed the challenge.
Put Scotty on it. Give him a try. See how he'll go with it. Is there one that you wish people would ask you instead? Is there something that you like to talk about your sport that you wish more people would ask about?
Oh, nothing comes to mind, to be honest.
We all ask the good questions. That's good. All right.
Yeah. There's nothing really
We spent
People
20
ask
minutes
away
in this
after what you
episode
want,
talking
really.
about Dale Begg-Smith. You've ticked off a good day today. Not many people probably ring him up anymore, so we're both happy. Last one for you, Matt. The one lesson that you have learnt from losing that has shaped you more than winning.
I think that one's pretty key to, I guess, the last few years of my mogul skiing career. Obviously, in Beijing, going in with high expectations and failing at those Olympics, it was a bit of a dark time for me personally, coming home from those games. So I had to rediscover the love and the reason why I wanted to do the sport. It's probably something that I really learned, and that, I guess, skiing and my results didn't define me. When I came home, the people around me, my family, my friends still loved me just as much. It didn't matter if I went there and won or lost. So, yeah, I think learning that my results didn't define who I was probably the biggest thing I learned from losing.
Great answer. Well, we asked that last because it always brings out sort of the inspirational good way to sort of bookend the chat. Matt, this has been an absolute honour and a privilege to hear from you and chat and learn about your journey and everything else, and obviously in the lead up to your fourth Olympics. Before we let you go, if people want to follow the journey, social media, where can people sort of stay up to date with everything in the world of Matt Graham?
Yeah, so predominantly, I guess I'd say I'm on Instagram, Matt Graham. Well, I don't know what my handle is. Matt Graham Moguls, maybe? Or
I
no,
think that's
Mogul,
it.
Matt
That sounds
Graham.
familiar.
I don't know. Surely these days I can just search Matt Graham.
We'll tag it in this post if people are listening.
Yeah, you tag it because I can't remember what it is. I'm not much of a social media person. And I'll try to keep everyone up to date.
That's amazing. I'm guessing you're
I'm
not on
just thankful
TikTok
these
then.
days. No, not on TikTok. I'm thankful these days that you can do these collab posts, because that way other people do the work and I just see the job done.
Well, that might mean you might accept our collab, so you're welcome.
I miss the days before social media, to be honest.
I think we all do. I think it's sort of like
for me, it's a burden. I don't like doing it, but I guess in some ways, kind of have to.
You get Leighton Hewitt message you. That's a positive, You do.
I mean, yeah.
You never know.
I guess when you do good things or you make an emotional post, people give you the feedback that I guess you're searching for. So
yeah, you never know what's going to come to that, Matt. But we've got all fingers, toes, everything crossed for you in the lead up in the coming weeks. In the lead up to Milan, we're going to be cheering everything going into that, and we wish you all the best of luck. And no matter what happens, we'll get you back on after if you feel like it, and we can chat about you being a dual gold medalist as well as a silver medalist in the Olympic Games.
Thanks very much. Thanks for having me.